Guys, this is Dylan from the Lifestyle Trader. Today is 5th of January 2017. Time is 11:54 a.m. So welcome to my D10 minutes trade idea video. Alright, so I'm just gonna talk about first. I'm gonna touch on what you might have missed for this week so far. Let's have a look at the Kiwi against the US dollar. So right here, recently, I mean, there's a very prominent setup right here. We can see that this is a very prominent trend. Now, if you look at the bigger time frame, well, it is actually pretty much close to the lower side, so chances of a rebound going in the opposite direction is pretty high as well. But nevertheless, the most important thing is to identify the first, a new trend, whether it's upwards or downwards. So in this case, it's upward trend as it has broken above the previous high right here. So once that has happened, we will be looking for retracement. So that's the first one. That's the second one. Pretty much the same. AB equals to CD. As long as the duration is not too wide, the volume is not too far off from the first one, then with the Fibonacci retracement, you'll know that you can actually go for the buy at 80.6%, or if you're afraid to miss it, 70.6% will do as well, because that will still give you a pretty good risk ratio. And right here, set about 3 pips of stop loss. If you're going for a buy, you do not have to include the spread. If you're going to sell, you have to include the spread. I mean, I'm talking about for the stop loss and take profit level, minus 3 pips right here. And in this case, this is a straight trend. So for a straight trend, we usually go for 80% of its trend itself. So you can see that 80% of it somewhere right here. Definitely, it has hit the take profit level at 80% of the whole wave of the appreciation. So this is one very, I would say this is almost a perfect setup, all right, for the retracement channel strategy. So that's one of it. And of course, we have one more right here. um, you can see that there's resistance, previous high. So as it came all the way down, all right, created a new trend, breaks below the previous low. This is considered a new trend. All right, so the same thing is going to happen. We will just be waiting for one wave of retracement. It came down, completes the second wave. Now this actually went a little bit further, but nevertheless, it did not break above the 100% level. So we are safe, and it came all the way down. Now this is a staggered trend. This is not a straight trend, so we don't go for 80%. We go for 61.8% of the whole trend itself. So no, sorry, I have to go to 1 hourly chart now. If this is actually based on 1 hourly chart, so if you look at the 1 hourly chart, it is actually still considered a straight trend. There's only a minor bit of consolidation right here, but it's pretty much still straightforward. But of course, this will be the previous one that I just talked about, will be the perfect scenario. There's totally no consolidation whatsoever. It just goes all the way up. All right, that's a perfect one. Whereas this, we can see that there's still a little bit of consolidation, but still good enough to be considered a straight trend. So what happens is that after which it came all the way down. So straight trend, look for 80% of the whole trend itself, depending on how high it goes. So if it comes up all the way up here, I'll measure from here, 80% of the whole trend somewhere right here. I have to profit as well. So two setups happen consecutively for the Kiwi against the US dollar. So that could be what you have missed. What's happening right now, right? If you look at the 4 hourly charts, right, in the 4 hourly chart, we can see that the price is has been retracing, going upwards, and it's going to enter the one of the major resistance zone, or rather support and resistance zone. If you look at the day one chart, this is the major support, so this is the zone itself, this is the major zone. So expecting the price to go further into the zone, since it's coming already all the way up to here. So if you look at the 15-minute chart, there's already a trend right here. In the 15-minute chart, a straight trend, one retracement, waiting for the second retracement. So somewhere right here, we can look for a buy. And similarly, we will just be using Fibonacci retracement all the way here. Came once, two, that's in between 61.8 and 70.6%. Yeah, price changes right here as well. So definitely will be a good price to go for the buy. The setup is valid, so that's one of the opportunity for you for today. And let's move on to say euro against the US dollar. I have already prepared. All right, now Now the thing about if you are going to use Martingale, all right, and apply it, integrate it into the retracement channel strategy, then definitely you can only go one at a time. So in this case, I've chosen Euro against US dollar. Actually, I'm more favorable for Kiwi against US dollar, but I just need to test out more other currency pairs as well. So nevertheless, this is still a good setup. In the day chart, we are seeing that the price is, trying to gain further or retrace further towards right now it is at the previous key support term resistance level, right? But if we go to the 1 hour 4 hourly chart, it does seems that it can go a little bit further into this zone itself. So anyway, I'm just looking at the 15-minute chart at the previous trend. So based on this previous trend, I'll be waiting for retracement. First retracement has completed. We'll be waiting for the second one to be completed as well. And then again, Fibonacci retracement, that will tells me in between 61.8 and 70.6% retracement level is where I can buy. So that's where I've set my buy limit. And so, well, we'll be just waiting for the retracement to be completed, and that's all. There's nothing I can do once the trade has been triggered. Stop loss will be set right there. My take profit will be set right there. You can see that I'm taking 80% of the previous trend since this is a straight trend. Okay, so that's for the euro against US dollar. Let's talk about dollar against the Japanese yen. All right, right here there's also a trade that you might have missed as well. A very nice setup. Now this is. Now the thing about when we trade the retracement channel using the retracement channel strategy, we might also want to look out for major support resistance level as well. So right here we can see that this is the major resistance, the highest that it has went to. So when it comes all the way here, all right, back to the previous high, it was resisted, came all the way down. We can see that this is a very strong downward trend. Therefore, we can actually take this as a trend itself, and then wait for retracement. Then we go for the sell again. Now this is a straight trend. So therefore, if it's a straight trend, then we'll be waiting for one retracement, two retracement, and then we aim for the 80% of the previous trend. So this is also I would say close to perfect setup right here. Alright, the volume and the duration is pretty much equal. AB equals to CD, and then from here, if you sell it, then definitely will reach at least 80% of the whole previous trend. Let's see. Alright, from here 80%. Yes, this is 80%. Okay, even if you don't hit right here, the next one it actually hits. Okay, so that's for the dollar against the Japanese yen. For now, yes, and for now, what's going to happen right here is that it has already created a new trend right here, a new downward trend. So waiting for retracement to happen. Apparently, the first wave of retracement is being, as for this, has been is invalid because there's a similar low right here. So we'll be waiting and see how far this first retracement goes. Then we'll be waiting for a second retracement, and similarly we'll be just using Fibonacci retracement, look for the right level to go for the sell. And right here there's price changes as well in within this zone. So I would say that I would prefer the price retrace into this zone for me to go for a sell instead. So there is for the dollar against the Japanese yen. Maybe last but not least, let's touch on say Aussie against US dollar. Now, Aussie against US dollar, we can see that the price has been breaking higher and higher. So definitely would be good that we look for a buying opportunity. Alright, but just as the trend right here is really staggered, so it makes it less appetizing for us to go into this trade, which is why I still prefer Kiwi against US dollar, at least for this week itself. So well, you can look at it, but what I'm seeing here is that the trend seems to be all the way from here to the top right here. So we are really expecting very major retracement if we want to go for the buy for this pair. If not, I would suggest that you look at Kiwi against US dollar. The setup are much nicer, I would say, and more straightforward, easier to identify. So alright, so that's for the Aussie against the US dollar. So that's all for today. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.